Cadillac Unscripted is bringing back a show from September 25th, 2021, when we did Katy and I, with our friend Rudy Grayheck, also known, perhaps better known, as Dynomite the Clown. This is Cadillac Unscripted on 107.9 CDY. It's sponsored by Independent Bank. Katy Huckle is here with me right now. And Katy, we're going to jump into this right now because we have a fellow with us who has been entertaining people for decades and has so many stories to tell.
Oh my gosh, you cannot help but smile when Dynomite walks into the room. He just was the kind of the star of the Manton Harvest Festival. It was his 65th time appearing in the Manton Harvest Festival, Rich.
65 years.
65 parades in a row. And guess who his driver is?
The driver was you.
I am the driver. That's right. I'm the person that gets him from point A to point Z. And when you drive by people and they see that it's Dynomite, and of course he's in full costume, they start elbowing each other. There's Dynomite. Everybody gets so excited. And of course, he's got all these jokes that he shouts from our golf cart to entertain people. and the parade's actually one of the biggest parades in northern Michigan, but it goes so quickly because I have the best seat in the house. Okay? I get entertained the whole time. So, Rudy, welcome. We're so excited to have you with us.
Thank you. I'm glad. I'm just happy to be here.
Yes. So, what year did you decide I'm going to be a clown?
Really, I think it started in 1956,
okay,
when I was out of the Army by already about a year and a half. I 52 to 54, I was in Korea in a battle of Pork Chop Hill in Korea, 7th Division.
Wow.
And what a change of life, you know. And when I got out of the Army, I said, what would be next thing as exciting as being in the Army?
Right.
And I said, wait a minute, I think a clown would be.
So how did you come up with your suit, your name?
Well, it came up, two of my great idols that I fell in love with for years and years ago. One was Emmett Kelly,
okay,
who did the Weary Willie tramp type clown for Ringling Brothers.
Yes.
And then after him, then I got attached, and I just lived, and I cried the day he died. His name was Red Skeleton.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how many remember Red Skeleton.
Mm-hmm.
Now I have to explain what he was. And he was Freddie the Freeloader.
Was that his name?
Yeah, Freddie the Freeloader. He did a tramp-type character, which I didn't want to do whiteface or a Gustav type clowning. I went into tramp-type like Kelly and Red Skeleton.
I see.
And we were kind of barred from the circus.
Is that right?
When I went on with Clyde Beatty shows, the wild animal training show, they kind of hesitated about having a tramp clown on because clowns are all whiteface.
I see.
You know, a Gusta type, what they call.
Okay.
Like a lot of people know, if you tell them better, Ronald McDonald.
Okay.
That would be an Augusta type whiteface.
I see.
And then tramps were kind of outlawed, but I pick it up from the Depression era, which was in the 30s and 40s, which I grew up in. And because, believe it or not, you may not believe this, Katy, looking at me now, that I am 88 years old, and in 3 weeks I'll be 89.
Unbelievable. And he's still a laugh a minute.
So Rudy, you've had a lifelong fascination with circus and carnivals and that kind of thing, haven't you?
Yes, definitely. I still do. I still work a lot with carnivals.
Okay.
You know, and I book carnivals too. I help book them, and I know all the ride manufacturers, the carnivals that build all the big rides, you know, and I've been in contact with them 40, 50 years.
Right.
You know.
When you walk into a crowd, and you and I have attended events together, what's your goal?
My goal? I don't know. I think my goal is to see how much laughter I can get by doing something stupid, which is easy for a tramp-type clown, you know. And but I think that. But I love to see the laughter, and of course I love working with not just kids, but adults, because more of the adults know me as like from the Emmett Kelly and Red Skeleton era, you know, which you don't see anymore on television.
I don't. I know I love watching the folks that remember your TV show. They get so excited and they say, I was on a show when I was little and that kind of thing. Tell us about what that show was. And
Yeah, it was kind of taken from a run from the format of the Bozo. The Bozo Show, like was on Channel 13 in Grand Rapids for years. Who was Dick Richards was another good friend of mine, and but he's long gone. Gosh, I think about it now. All the guys that I worked with and started and MT with, they're all gone.
I know it.
You know, they're all gone, and I'm the only one that's lucky to be living here at 88 years old yet.
But I think part of what keeps you young and so together is your next parade, your next event.
Oh, sure.
Don't you think?
Oh, yeah. And you know, of all the parades that I do, first of all, to start it off, this year, I lost 23 of my best shows because of this COVID.
Oh,
COVID-19.
shoot. 23 appearances were canceled?
Yep, 23 appearances. But I was fortunate. I did pick up one of my good ones that fortunately was good in money, in pay, was Ionia Free Fair.
Okay.
And then Greenville Danish Festival, and then up and down the coast, down to Benton Harbor, and all the way up to Sault Ste. Marie.
So let me ask you, I mean, people will know it's you from your voice, but you don't really want your fans and children and things to see you out of costume, right? Because you're in character.
Yeah.
Okay, so how does that work? You go somewhere else and get all ready, or are you ready when you get in the car?
Well, no, I do both.
Okay.
I sometimes get ready at home, and then other times I just get ready for my vehicle. Okay. If you've seen my vehicle inside, it's a junk plaza. I mean, all my clown props are in there, everything, and spilt coffee from McDonald's.
Well, we've got spilled coffee from McDonald's, don't we, Rich? Mm-hmm. Okay, so here's a question. What happens if you have to stop? You're in full makeup and everything, and you've got to stop at a McDonald's or at a restaurant. I mean, how do people react to you that don't know you when you're dressed up like that?
Well, people stop. Usually they stop and you know, can I shake your hand?
Yeah.
You know, well, yeah, sure, you can shake my hand. But then to back that up is people that recognize my voice sometime, and they ask me, they say, pardon me, you wouldn't by any chance be Dynomite the Clown, would you? And I say, wait a minute, do I owe you any money? No, you don't owe me any money. Well, then I reach my pocket, take the red nose out.
You always have the red nose in your pocket?
Oh, carry it all the time.
Okay, I was going to ask.
Carry it all the time with me.
Yeah.
He carries his smile with him all the time, too. But
Yeah, and speaking of smile, my face is copyrighted and registered.
Is it
in
really?
Washington, D.C. since 1959.
Wow. Well, I've seen your pencil drawings. You've brought those to me. They're really fun to look at. They're
they
beautiful.
are. Gosh, it's amazing. That pencil drawing was done by a gentleman in Manton.
Oh, nice.
And if you look at that pencil drawing, if anyone listening out in the audience, if they see any of them, look at the eyes.
Okay.
I cannot figure out how the guy did it with a pencil. I couldn't do it with a camera.
So, okay, this off-the-cuff joking, this spontaneous humor, where does that come from? I mean, do you lay in bed at night and think of new jokes? Or?
Well, yeah, I do that. And driving down the road a lot of times, I got people blowing a horn at me behind, because I'm only driving 35 miles an hour in a 60-mile-an-hour zone.
Oh, that
and
was
I'm thinking of different. Hey, wait a minute, this would be a good joke. I'll see something along the road, you know, kind of catches, and I say, I could work that into a routine. You know, that's about the same way Red Skelton did.
Okay.
But Red Skelton used to get out of his mansion in California, and he'd go out in a big oak tree and climb up in an oak tree. And he had like a tree house.
Oh, okay.
And he would go up there and just meditate on different funny things.
Mm-hmm. And that's where his material came from.
Yep, that's where it comes from. We're strange people.
Yes.
Clowns.
Do you ever look at the future and think Dynomite will retire someday, or is Dynomite in perpetuity? Is it?
Well, I look at it this way. The way things are going in the parades I've picked back up. And a lot of people say, well, how will we know when Dynomite the Clown retires? I say it's easy. just pick up the local paper. When you see my obituary in there, you know I'm done. I'm up at Maple Hill.
That's the answer, Rich.
Well, and that brings up another question. So, when you're gone, do you fear about? I mean, do you have a thought that the future of clowning is not as bright as it used to be? I don't see a lot of people doing what you do anymore.
No, you don't really. That's the best one I've ever heard yet. What you just said. It is. There isn't many people interested in clowning that much anymore, or slapstick comedy. But I wish they had guys on TV back like Red Skelton. Because they were so. Do you remember Red Skelton?
Yes,
Yeah.
and even Johnny Carson. I mean,
Yeah.
even so much of your humor is self-deprecating,
Yeah.
and I think that disarms people because we're all busy trying to be the best that we can be, and we all have our insecurities. And when I hear some of your jokes, I think it's okay to not be perfect.
Yeah, right.
Right?
Yeah, it's one of my best ones I like to do in a parade. Let's say, for example, along the parade route, there's 4 or 5 elderly ladies standing there, white hair, some walking with a cane and that. And I think I did it with you. I had you pull the golf cart over, and I said, I recognize you ladies. Boy, is it ever good to see you. I want to thank you for coming down all the way here to Manton, Michigan. And then they'll look at me and I'll say, you're the original Dallas Cowgirl cheerleaders, aren't you? Oh, man, you ought to hear the applause. And usually, don't them ladies say to me, I love you, Dynomite.
Right. Yeah. Well, and just taking a minute to acknowledge someone, to look them in the eye and to smile at them, you never know what that means to somebody. They could be in a dark place.
It does. I especially when I'll see like a young mother and her daughter, which is about her height, and I'll say, boy, it's wonderful you two sisters to come out today, And of course, that's what I am. I'm what they call a meet and greet clown.
Okay.
A meet and greeter, they call them. Because that's what I did in the circus.
Okay. I
did meet and greet until the audience was coming in. And then I've done meet and greeting to a guy that I think you probably have heard of him. I still accuse him of writing the national anthem for him and I. Because when I leave in the house in the morning, when I go out, I sing our national anthem. On the road again, just can't wait to get on that road again. My buddy Willie Nelson.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
And Willie is my age, 88. And I asked Willie, I said, God, Willie, I was putting my makeup on and by his bus in my motorhome. And I said, Willie, how come I'm so much younger looking than you? And he said, my lifestyle. And he said, I'm on my 3rd wife. I said, well, I'm on my 2nd, and there sure as heck ain't going to be no 3rd. And then he invited me into his bus. And I went into his bus, and something you got to know. I've never smoked. I've never had a cigarette in my mouth, lit or unlit, my whole life. I got in his bus, and smoke was from the ceiling down to about 4 feet.
Right.
And it probably wasn't cigarette smoke either.
Well, I told him, I said, Willie, I think your bus is on fire. And you got a fire extinguisher? I'll help you put it out. He said, no. He said, that's the band in the back. They're practicing. I said, well, practicing what? I don't hear any music.
How did you come to do a show with Willie Nelson?
Huh?
How'd you come to do appear with Willie?
Well, the thing is, Willie's on stage with his band doing his show. I'm out in the audience in the theater at the entrance coming in doing the meet and greet.
And where was this at?
Oh, well, I've done it at Soaring Eagle
for
one place. Different casinos is where Willie shows. And so I asked Willie, I said, Willie, what is your 3rd wife's name? He said, it's an easy name to remember. Her name is Mary Giwana.
Where's he come up with this stuff, Honestly.
You can learn a lot from Willie.
So do you wake up every morning in a good mood?
Pretty much. Pretty much. I just wake up and say, God, another day the Lord's letting me live.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've had some health issues, and you told me once that when you were in dialysis that other people couldn't wait for you to come because you're all hooked up.
Yeah.
And you kept the mood light there.
Yeah, I get a chance to talk to a few of them. but a lot of them fall asleep.
Oh, I see.
Is what they do. When you get in that dialysis thing, God, and I don't wish that on anyone.
Oh, boy.
Check with your kidney doctor
Okay.
every week, because that's where it starts.
Okay.
And my doctor, I have the 2 doctors from Cadillac that I go to, and they put me on this dialysis. I've been on it about 3 years now, I think. And they is what they do. They inject not 1 but 2 needles.
Okay.
Right there, and 1 here in the bottom, 1 on the top. And before the nurse put it in, I said, "When are you going to put the needles in?" They said, "I got them right here." I said, "Them ain't needles, them are railroad spikes. They anchor tracks down for a train. They were that big." Man.
But that helps the other patients lighten up, I think.
Oh yeah,
hearing
they
some
get
of
a
this
kick
stuff.
out of it. Yeah, they'll some of them will say, "Well, we got a clown back in the room."
Oh, we're going to be back. We're going to take a little break, and we're going to be back with more from Dynomite the Clown right after this.
This is a special repeat edition of Cadillac Unscripted on 107.9 CDY. This originally aired September 25th, 2021, when we chatted with our friend Rudy Grayheck, better known as Dynomite the Clown, with a 65-year career retrospective. This is Cadillac Unscripted on 107.9 CDY, and this is definitely, I think, Katy, our most entertaining show, our most uplifting show, because Dynomite the Clown has been a part of so many people's lives over the last several decades. I mean, we're talking 65, you said?
65 years.
65 years. You've been on TV, performed at so many local festivals and fairs and things like that, and we're kind of getting a retrospective on Dynomite's life, aren't we?
We sure are. Some days I think he's just getting started. You know that? But you graduated from Cadillac High School in 1952, is that right?
Yep, Cadillac High in 1952. I graduated from the brand new gym where the school is now.
Yep.
And that was a start right there. I got my my diploma there. And I remember our principal, Mr. Mills, pointing out the door was open on the side of the stage out to the parking lot. And he says to 8 of us guys that were in line there, he said, "I've got news for you boys." He said, "You got your diploma." And he said, "You see them buses out there, them brown buses?" And "Yes, Mr. Mills." He says, "Get on them because you're drafted in the Army."
Incredible.
And that was gone. And I went to basic training at Camp Atterbury, which was about 3.5, 4 months. And right after I got out of basic training, they shipped us by troop train to California. Then we got on a troop ship, which was about 36 days crossing the ocean in a typhoon.
Incredible.
Oh, my God. I was on that ship 36 days, and I was deathly ill 40.
Wait a minute, right, and then to Korea.
Yep, and then to Korea, and we got there, and he assigned us, and see how well I remember this. They took a groups of us, they broke them up, and they said, now this group here, which was my group, he said, "You're going with the 7th Division, 17th Regiment, and you guys will be in 3rd Platoon, 3rd Squad." And he said, "I would say that you're going to be 30 cal machine gunners." And he said, "All the time that you raise heck in your hometown, racing up and down the street in a car, now we'll see how aggressive you are, because your next job is shooting people. You're in Korean combat. This is combat." And I was in, like I said, 7th Division, 17th Regiment, 3rd Platoon, 3rd Squad, US 55343-501, my number. And I was a big, proud corporal.
Oh my!
Making $87 a month combat pay.
The boys that you went to war with, what would they have said if you would have told them that your future was going to be in clowning? Would they have believed it? I mean, you sound like a tough guy.
Yeah, I doubt it. I doubt if they would have believed that.
Mm-hmm.
Would Dynomite have existed if it wasn't for those years in combat?
Would have existed?
Yeah. Would you have gone into clowning? Because that what you saw was tough. What you did, the work was hard. So and sad.
Yes.
And tragic. And
Yeah.
So would we have seen a Dynomite the Clown if you hadn't gone to Korea?
I think you probably would, because I grew up in Cadillac on West 13th Street, not far from the fairgrounds.
Oh, wow.
And every time a carnival, fair, or a circus came to the fairgrounds, I was there early morning, stayed all day.
You just wanted, it was so exciting.
It was exciting, working around the carnival rides, and then when I went into circus, then into that massive big top and the trapeze all up above. And we had some big stars that worked with us them days, like the great Walenda troupe was with the show when I was with. And I just see or hear in the news where not too long ago, Carla Walenda died.
Okay.
She was up in her 80s, and she was Carl Walenda's daughter.
Okay.
And she did the high wire also. But she used to do the headstand in like Manton Labor Day. She come to Manton Labor Day, and they put that what they call a straight bend tower up, and she'd go crawl up to the top of that climb, spoke by spoke, get up, and there was what they call a head plat right on the top, and she'd stand on her head.
No.
Up about 70 feet in the air.
Unbelievable.
Oh, and she made it and never fell.
Isn't that incredible?
Never fell. She just died a regular natural death.
But all of that, the food smells and the
Oh yeah.
it takes you away from reality. All of it. It's like a sensory overload.
Yeah, we still when I get in the spirit, we go doot doot doodle doodle doo 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 doot doot doodle circus music. Barnum and Bailey, Ringling Brothers, their theme.
Is just about every part of your life kind of linked to this?
Oh yeah.
I think so too.
Yeah, it does. I can't say that I'm sorry that I ever became a clown, because I'm happy every day when I put it, like when we come up in Manton, that many years, and then, and all the folks that are listening to this broadcast, I want to tell you one thing. I am so lucky to have, at 88 years old, I just can't hardly walk them parades anymore. So they furnish me with a golf cart. And that's wonderful. But I have the most beautifulest lady in the world driving me in that parade, Katy, Huckle. She's been a queen in 15 different states in Michigan, in United States. And I just...
Oh, no, you are cloning now.
This is where we need to have a webcam, because Katy is red as a beet.
Yep.
I don't need the nose, because I'm just horrified.
And a lot of people ask me, they say, well, why would you recommend that lady, Katy Huckle? And I said, can't you figure it out? It makes me look a lot better. And her picture goes all over the country with this modern technology, because there's a million cameras and phones taking pictures, and they can key them out in any place. Like, part of my family in Bakersfield, California, got a call from them. They said, who was that beautiful girl riding you in that parade? I said, I said, her name is Katy Huckle, and she's been a queen in probably, I would say, 13 states in the United States anyway.
So one of the things that's so fun about being with him in the parade is that he's very approachable. And so people stand in line and, pretty much they want to talk to him. They want to have their picture taken. And I want to tell you, he doesn't just have 4 or 5 jokes, Rich, because the parade goes for hours. So I'm sitting with this man. He has a suitcase with props in it. He has, we heard about the blue-haired Dallas Cowgirls, the original lineup. I mean, there's one of those a minute. And people get quiet. They approach him, but then they want to hear what he's going to say, and everybody's just looking for a little light and just a smile and maybe a laugh,
Like Red Skeleton used to pull. He'd pull some off-color stuff. Nobody ever complained about it.
Right.
But I got 28 suitcases at home in my pole barn lined up on a shelf.
Oh, boy.
With all different props. And one of my good ones is that I used to come out, I don't know if you remember this one. I'd come out and I'd have the suitcase and it says, the morning paper. And everybody would say, they'd look at it and said, the morning paper. I said, did you see the morning paper today? No, I haven't. I said, are you sure? You better see it before the end of the day is. I opened up the lid and there was a roll of toilet paper mounted on the wall of the suitcase. morning
It
paper.
was just so silly, but it's really funny. What about, sometimes little kids get a little nervous about clowns.
Oh, yeah.
How do you handle that?
Well, it's what I do. I go up to them, and my one glove, I got a squeaker
Okay.
in my glove, and I'll go up and I'll say, boy, you got the nicest haircut I've ever seen. And I'll take them and tap them on the head and go, squeak, 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 squeak. And I tell them, I say, you better eat a lot more oatmeal in the morning, buddy.
Squeaky.
There was a period of time, Rudy, when this was probably about 5 or 6 years ago, when there was this massive panic and fear of clowns. Do you remember that?
Oh, I remember it very well.
I had you in here, and I wanted to interview you on the Get Up and Go morning show, and I wanted to have a guy who has brought so much joy
Yes.
to people over the years to come in and say, this is crazy. Stop it. Clowns are about happiness,
Yes.
not fear.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's,
Right.
I wanted to have you in to talk about that, and I'm glad to see that's died down.
Oh, gosh, I am too. Well, it's like I'm glad to see that has died down is this losing 23 shows. They're starting to come back now.
Right. And you want to know, those events are more appreciated than ever.
Yeah.
What do they say? You don't miss it till it's gone.
Right.
And then when it comes back, people are like, oh, I will be there, because
Yeah.
it's a spirit of community, about being around others and supporting them. And even if it's a stranger, you can still smile in a little town and enjoy a parade.
Oh, yeah, especially when I like to work the women over in a parade. If I see a good-looking woman along the side, I'll say, ma'am, I want to ask you a personal question. And they look at you, how personal? Are you married? No. Have you got a boyfriend? No. I said, here's my card. 2 phone numbers on there. Call either one.
See, the problem is when you're driving him and he asks this, sometimes I'm like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
Oh, what's coming out of that mouth? You just never know.
Oh, yeah, you never know, really.
But a guy wearing a clown outfit can get away with that.
Right, you're right.
Yeah.
They can.
You can get away with a lot more than someone who is just dressed regularly.
Yeah, if I probably walked along the street, not in my clown outfit, and said half of that stuff, you know where I'd be? Local county jail.
With a
three,
black-
with
with a
three
black
of Jeffrey Feiger helping me.
No, you are beloved. You're beloved. You told the cutest story, this 47-year-old man. Well, tell the story about the bike. Remember that man was on your show?
Oh, yeah, I ran into a guy I think it was in a Walmart store in Big Rapids, and he heard me talking. I was just myself, and he heard my voice, and he said, sir, he said, if you don't mind me asking, you wouldn't by any chance be Dynomite the Clown, would you? And I looked at him, I said, do I owe you any money? No. So I said, well, I'm safe. And I put my red nose on.
Yeah.
And he says, God, he says, I'm 47 years old. I was on your TV show on the Fox Kids Club on Fox 33 in Cadillac. Yeah. And he said, I won, at 5 years old, I won one of the best bikes on your Crazy Bucket Bonanza that I had on there. And he said, I still have that bike. And it still runs just as nice as can be.
Isn't that something?
That's awesome. That is awesome.
47.
And you smile even broader when you make someone laugh. I don't know if you knew this, but your smile gets even bigger.
Yeah.
Is it a feeling of accomplishment?
Oh yeah, it is, because the way I put the makeup on, I specialize in makeup enough to the point where you can't imagine how many waitresses in restaurants I have taught how to do eye makeup, eyeshadow.
You're just telling me
eyebrow.
this now? I mean, when are we going to have lessons?
I've helped so many of them in makeup.
Good.
Because, if you're doing makeup for 65 years, you're bound to learn something, even if you're stupid.
How'd you pick your outfit?
My outfit, I designed it after a combination of Emmett Kelly and Red Skelton.
Okay, back to
'Cause
that.
they both were tramp clown, and I portray a tramp clown that's lived in a city dump.
Oh, that's where Dynomite's from, is the city dump.
That's like Red Skelton. If you remember the show Red Skelton, he slept in a city dump in the back seat of a 28 Packard.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah.
It's just slapstick fun.
Oh yeah, just slapstick comedy is what it is. But of course, the main thing is I like to see people laugh, because there's so much sadness in the world.
Especially the last 20 months.
Oh,
How important is your work now? I mean, I would think your work is more important now than it
oh,
was
yeah, it is.
pre-COVID.
I got to really work on the funnyism. We call it the funnyism, because when you look at these people down in Louisiana, oh my God, I keep saying, I look up at the sky and I say, Jesus, where are you? Where are you?
Help. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I've had people tell me this. Do you know why we got a lot of the problems on Earth as we have now with all over the world? Because a lot of us have taken God out of our picture.
Could be.
That's it.
And we've lost the ability to laugh.
That's right. That's
We've
right.
lost our collective sense of humor. And we
very
need
true.
to keep that.
Yep.
Absolutely.
I think so.
Well, we know that Rudy's doing his part.
For sure.
I-
and will continue to do it until he can't anymore.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah. Well, we heard what his retirement announcement's going to look like. So, but I can't tell you how fun it is. We go around a bend in the Harvest Festival Parade, the Harvest, and there's an announcer, and that's where the largest group of people stands
on that
is at
corner.
that turn.
Yeah.
And they go absolutely hog wild when he announces Dynamite, because he announces what year it was. This year it was the 65th. I mean, people are going, and I felt old. I don't feel old, and he makes me feel normal because he makes people laugh and smile.
Yeah. The suitcase I got, I'll use in Manton, is why 65 years of clowning. I open up the lid and it reads there in big black print, because I love all you folks.
Oh, that's
I get
wonderful.
so many good comments. People saying, "We love you, Dynamite."
Everybody loves some Dynamite, Rich. Thank you so much for bringing us joy and happiness and smiles.
You're so welcome, and it's an honor and a privilege of being here with you folks, and the gentleman on the end, on the mic on the other end there, he's a pretty sharp looking guy,
Yeah.
but with Katy Huckle in the middle, that's all the beauty in the world. You know what I tell girls like Katy? I say,
I am afraid.
Yeah.
I am afraid.
I say like to Katy, you had to be made by Fisher Body in Flint, Michigan, because nature could not do that good.
Oh, nice.
That is a great way to end
Yeah.
that, isn't it? All right.
Thank you for spending time with us, Dynamite, and thank you for all the smiles.
Well, thank you, and thank you folks very much for having me on the air.
Cadillac Unscripted is sponsored by Independent Bank, and we will do it again next week, same time, same station, Saturday mornings at 8:30 for more local chat. Cadillac Unscripted on 107.9 CDY.